Yeah, good, thank you. How are you? And how's training been today? Your preparations affected at all?
Windy, I would say. We have a nice open training ground, so it's been quite windy. So now of course, it's crazy weather, so we decided to change things. So, for example, offensive set pieces is impossible to train today. So, and defensive set pieces, we didn't do that. We'll do some walkthrough tomorrow before when we meet in, so we get everything in place. So that changed. I had a tactical session kind of, but also with some free play yesterday. So we got some bits in, and because of the weather, I decided to change it. So we did a get their body moving in terms of, we did a prep, some boxes, and then we did some small sided games to get it going, and so suddenly one of them goals were moving. So after round 6, I say cut it, we go in, and we will be ready for tomorrow.
That could make the game a bit more interesting, moving goals.
Yeah, I agree. The good thing is normally they're anchored in the stadium, but so in the Premier League game, hopefully no problems.
And how's your team looking? Any changes to the squad that faced Palace last weekend?
Hopefully, of course, Ivan has done some light sessions, so we'll assess him in the morning and see how close he is. Of course, it's a player that we really would like in our team, or at least in the squad. So we will see tomorrow. I'll take the final decision there.
And how has Christian Eriksen been after playing that behind closed doors game? And when is the earliest we could see him involved with the first team?
Yeah, Christian looked good in the 60 minutes he played. Looking good in trainings. He feels well, and he's in a good place. But it's a little bit similar. He's been out for 7 months. Normally, you need a proper preseason to get it going. So of course, he came into us with a good foundation, and so he doesn't need 6 weeks. But this Arsenal game is just one step too early. So we have another good opponent, friendly game on Monday behind closed doors. That would be really beneficial for him. So we are aiming for the Newcastle game. That's the aim. But in the whole process, it's been, of course, you knew that City and Crystal Palace was too close, but everything from there was open. And when I decided you need to go out there, of course, together with him the first time, it's when he feels good, and I think he can perform. He's in a good place, so we aim for Newcastle.
How emotional was it seeing him back out on the pitch?
I think there was more emotion on the first session, I would say, than the friendly. I know there was a 11v11. So that was okay, but it's more the first session. But I think it'll be more emotional, of course, the day he will step in and onto the pitch.
After ending your losing streak against Palace, what's the confidence, the mood been like this week heading into Arsenal?
Been good, I would say. Of course, so many emotions in football, and it's about trying to keep a cool head and a calm soul in terms of looking in those performances, and they've been good, as I've been reinforcing in a lot of these press conferences. But of course, another good performance helps, and we will go into the game against Arsenal, against a top team that after their little bit tough start to the season for various reasons, they've done unbelievable well, and they are indeed fighting for a top 4. And I think they are in good form. So we know it's going to be extremely difficult, but we'll go there with belief and hope that we can get something out of the game.
It was such a great start to the season against them. How do you return to that kind of form?
Yeah, I think we are getting closer, to be fair. I think one of the biggest reasons for us not maybe keep performing at that level we did in the beginning of the season has been injuries. I think for me it's clear we missed some of our key and top players. And if I'm not that wrong, I think also Arsenal missed a few players against us. And since some of their key players came back, they also performed better. So for me, it's that we're having everyone available, and I'm pretty confident they will go back to the normal good. I don't know if they're normal, but the good performances we had, especially in the beginning of the season. But I also think we had some, quite consistently good performances, but some of them haven't paid off if you look at all the stats and when we analyze. So, but I think we can go up to good level hopefully.
All the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Rebecca, please.
Hi, Thomas. Good to see you.
Hi, Rebecca. Good to see you.
At this stage of the season, what are you demanding and what are you expecting from your players? And how has your outlook changed from the start of the season?
Not too much, I would say. Hopefully, I demand the same as I did in the beginning of the season. Working with a team is a constant process where you want to develop the individual player and the team and make it, try to play even better, more consistent. That's ongoing every single day on the training pitch. So the thing for me, like we try to be in the beginning of the season, try to be whole season, and even more important now is to be brave, aggressive, and cool. And I think that's the main bit when we go out there. Of course, also tomorrow.
The big question this weekend is: can Brentford become the first promoted side to complete the double over Arsenal this weekend?
Has that never happened before?
No.
Ah, okay, that'll be nice. Then we'll go for that. Okay, now we'll try to win the game. And no, we'll do our best. I'm pretty sure that Arsenal want to do everything they can to prove everyone wrong, that it was a slip for them against us. We need to do everything we can to perform well and do what we can to try to get 3 points. We believe that we can do that in every game. We believe that when we went to Anfield and to Etihad, we know those two places are so difficult to go to and play. Yeah, I know we lost in the end, but I think against Liverpool for 60 minutes we performed very well, and against City, I know we defended well, but did a lot of good stuff. So it's these performances we need to put out there, and maybe if we put that consistent performance out there, hopefully the margin drop for us, and we could make a remarkable win.
Thomas, do you approach the game exactly the same as you did in August, or differently?
Definitely towards the same way. Definitely that we would like to press high when we can. We need to defend well in a low block when we have to, and that will be spells where we need to defend with our lives and everything. I hope we are brave to play a bit more in spells. Then Arsenal have changed a few bits in terms of the way they build up. So in that way, of course, we need to change small bits, but the general game plan and our approach, which is linked with our style of play, will be the same.
Christian Eriksen has been with you a few weeks now as well. What have you learned about him? Maybe something that you didn't know before?
I think someone is calling us.
Yeah.
Got a call in here, incoming. I knew it before. I think it just got confirmed that he's a top player with top quality. You see that in every session. His movements, his touches, his vision, the way he play forward, the way he creates chances. I think that's very nice to be confirmed with that. And then I think another big thing is that he's a top person. He fits perfectly in the culture, even that he's by far our biggest star player.
David Raya also back between the sticks for you. How impressed have you been with him since he's returned from his injury?
Very much, I would say. I think because we know how important he is for us, probably forced it or pushed it a little bit quicker than I normally would do with a player. Our goalkeeper that's been out for so long. Maybe it was a week earlier than we maybe would have, 10 days, but we needed him in there to get up to speed. And that's why he was involved in a goal against Everton. I think made a mistake against City. And then I said to him after those 2 games, now I want a clean sheet. Now you're ready. And he gave me that. So that's easy. So you can do that again tomorrow. It'd be fantastic. But no, he's a key player. I still think, to be fair, he lacked the last, 5-7% to really maximize his performances where he were when just before he got injured, where he could pick a pass anywhere, could play it anywhere, top presence, top actions, but he's close, so it's definitely going in the right direction. He's a key player for us.
Thomas, thank you for your time today and good luck for the weekend.
Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Phil Parry, please. Phil, please be on the call, so we'll go to Sean Wiltshire.
Hello.
Phil's there.
Phil,
Hi, Thomas.
Hi, Phil.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. Just to go back to Christian Eriksen, obviously you talk about his quality as a player and it's great to see him out in training. What sort of influence has he had on the rest of the squad as well? What sort of messages back have you had from them about him being involved in sessions and how they feel about it and what they've benefited from?
And to be fair, I haven't spoken too much with the players about that because I think it's a little bit a natural approach Eriksen has had just to blend into the squad. What I noticed though is that he is, really good. You notice when you breakfast, lunch, pre-match. I don't know, he hasn't been to a pre-match, but anyway, but those situations where they're eating together, which players are sitting with who. We have a very tight group and everyone can blend in with everyone. But like any other places, there's always, some who's sitting more together with each other because they have a closer friendship. And he's been blending in with everyone. That's been surprising me a tiny bit, but just shows what a international person and player he is. He played in a lot of different environments in his career, and he can speak to everyone. So it's everyone from natural Christian Nørgaard and Pontus to, of course, Ivan and Brian Mbeumo to the youngest players in Mads Rorslev and Finn Stevens, for example. So is everyone. I really like that. I think that's fantastic. Then there's a lot of the players that, when you speak to them, that they can't wait to play with him because they know he got quality, and you can see that in the sessions.
And you mentioned obviously, the continued belief, the positive you can take, or positives you can take out of what happened last week. When you're, and it's been unusual really for your group. I mean, apart from that first spell when you took over, but what the run of games prior to the Palace game was certainly the results. What is the secret about maintaining belief and maintaining positivity? How do you do that when maybe the outcomes aren't what you'd like?
Good question. I think it's of course it can be difficult. I would say that we have a very good group of players that a lot of them have been here for quite a few years, so they know that the things we do or the environment we try to create. I'm quite consistent in my messages day in, day out. Calm, this is the plan, this is what we do, evaluate there, train hard, these things. So very consistent in all the messages. So good or bad, same thing, analyze. Sometimes, of course, we need a short change, but that could also be after you've won 3 games in a row, or just after I've done the same for a long time, do small changes. But in general, be consistent in your behavior. I think it's key. Then I think also the performances don't lie. I think the results can lie, if that makes sense. So I would have been much more worried if the performances were really bad, because that is very difficult to twist that narrative because the players feel it themselves. So as long as the performance has been good, and the players also know that, then of course it's my job to create the right narrative in terms of this is what we're doing very well. also what they can see with their eyes, and I can maybe reinforce the more positive things. For example, that we are actually defending quite well. And yes, there were a spell with the defensive set pieces that was not good enough in many ways. Then we actually adjusted in 2 games, had a slight setback against Everton, and now we have 2 games clean sheets in terms of set pieces. So for 4 out of 5, perfect. So those are the messages I try to reinforce, of course. So try to be consistent in communication.
And just finally, for me, you sort of mentioned Arsenal, and you know you see them as a club that's certainly challenging for those top 4 positions. Maybe what do you think it is about Arsenal that gives them, you know, the
Oh, Phil, you froze.
We may have lost Phil.
Yeah.
Phil,
Try again, Phil.
Sorry, Thomas, have you got me back?
Yeah.
Dodgy BBC connection, that's what it is. Just in regards to the Arsenal, I mean, you mentioned that they could be a top 4. They're certainly a top 4 challenger. What is it about them that sets them as a real top 4 potential, do you think, you know, the side that you're taking on tomorrow?
I think that they are looking from the outside. I can only analyze their games. Their performances look more consistent. I think it seems like their culture looks stronger and stronger. They're a team that work harder for each other. And then I think that that is paying off, that they're playing their younger top talents. Like, for example, Saka, I think he's a top player. I'm convinced he's going to be a really, really good player. I like him. I think for me, he's their biggest threat. And Smith Rowe, 2 of their own top talents that, you know, are just growing because they're playing with the right players around them. I think Partey is a key player for them. Now he's fit and playing consistently. So that those are just names that also he played more a consistent starting 11 for many games. And also Arteta's been there for a while now, so everything is building and going in the right direction. So that's why, and they have consistency in their performances also. It's always at a decent level, let's say 7-8 most of the times, and that out of 10, that means a lot in terms of getting a lot of points and to be able to compete for top 4.
Brilliant, thanks, Thomas. Best of luck tomorrow. Thanks for your time.
Let's show you, please.
Hi, Thomas. How are you?
I'm good, Sean. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. I just wanted to talk to you a little about Josh Dasilva. He's made a few appearances from the bench in recent weeks. I thought in particular against Crystal Palace, he came on and brought real drive from midfield. Have you been impressed with how he's been playing recently? And do you think he looks a lot like the Josh Dasilva before his injury now?
Yeah, been impressed. I think also not to if you want to compare, for example, Christian Eriksen and Josh Dasilva in terms of how they are coming back after been out for quite a while. That Josh Dasilva, he's now he played 4 games for the B team of the reserves, or a reserve friendly game, and the last one was 90 minutes and a hat trick. And then he had 3 came on 3 times, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, and in sessions you just look sharper now. So he's in a good place physically. Now again, it's for him to put in consistent performances, but he's pretty close to show the level and the talent he has, and he showed before. Now he needs to hopefully be allowed to start. Of course, I'll take that decision eventually, but I have no doubt that he's one of our. If he can hit that level that I believe he can hit, then he's one of our most important players going forward. I'm convinced he will be that. But of course, he needs to show that week in, week out in Premier League. But he got all the abilities to do it. So I can't wait for me to decide and let him start. Hopefully soon.
This will be his first time back at Arsenal since he left in 2018. if he does play tomorrow, do you think he's the kind of player that will play with a kind of chip on his shoulder, or do you think he'll be able to prove something against his former club? And do you think there's a little bit of Arsenal who regret letting him go?
I think the last bit, if you say that, I think it's always tricky for let's say the bigger clubs. It's so difficult to come through the ranks of the normal top 4, top 6 clubs, because there's so much talent in the academies, and the level of the first team need to compete for Champions League spots, top 4. That's the only thing. So you're not getting a lot of chances, and I think maybe one of the reasons why there's more young players in the Arsenal team now is because they've taken an active decision about it the latest years. Besides that, then you normally only see 1 or 2. Same with Chelsea. They had a lot of top talents, but it's only 3 years ago, where they gave the chance to, for example, Mason Mount and other players like him. So I think it's difficult, and there's not one perfect pathway through for every player. I hope that Josh one day will show, and I'm convinced he will, that he's a really, really good player that can play at the highest level, which Premier League of course is, and playing for Brentford is of course the highest level. But I think he got top potential in him. I'm also pretty sure that I'll put him on the pitch tomorrow coming off the bench. Of course he will. I think that's important.
And just lastly from me, Josh and Christian Eriksen, whenever they are fit to play and fit to start, obviously there's 2 midfielders who can help you control the game and create chances. But do you think that their ability to also score goals from range, do you think that will add another dimension to your side that'll be really helpful come down the stretch?
Definitely. I think every team would like or need goal scorers across the pitch. And there's no doubt that ability that both of them have to score goals, especially from outside the box, actually, is quite a unique ability. I think both of them also could score more goals inside the box. But that's something we need to work on, of course.
Thanks, Thomas. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Right, next one, Jim Van White, please, from PA.
Hi, Thomas.
Jim.
Hi. Listen, at least you're out of the wind there. It's whipping up a little bit now. I'm just one final one on Christian. I know you've spoken a lot about him recently, but how much of a balancing act is it for you to make sure that when he comes back, he's ready, and that it's not just rushed into playing because everyone wants to see him in action? Yeah, of course. I think that's I agree with you. It's a delicate balance because in a way we want him out there, and just like with every other player that's been out for 7-8 months, they need quite a few games, in a row to get up to the normal level. But to get up to that normal as quick as possible, you need to have to build the foundation that is as high as possible. And that's what we are trying to aim. But I need to insist. So one day I need to put him on the pitch, and then we'll take it from there. But the good news is that he looks good in training, and he looks like he's still a pretty good footballer that have unbelievable quality in his vision and passing range and finishing deliveries and so on. So that looks right. So now is that extra sharpness in the decisive actions that he needs to repeat more and more often, but it's going in the right direction. Just on the journey from the start of the season to where you are now, if you could go back to that the eve of that first game before the Arsenal match, what would you tell yourself to expect in the coming weeks?
In some ways, it was a little bit of an unknown how we would do in the Premier League. As I said quite a few times, I am convinced that we had something to offer to the Premier League. And of course, that opening night against Arsenal is
was magical. It's one of the nights that will be, or one of the games that will go on the history of Brentford. I'm convinced even that we hopefully make even more incredible history in the many years going forward. Then that opening night, the first time in the best league or in Premier League in 74 years, playing against a huge club as Arsenal, winning 2-0 with the crowd going absolutely bananas, crazy. What a feeling, what a moment. And that's no matter what happens in the future, no matter how well we're doing, no matter what that or bad or whatever, that moment would forever be with every Brentford fan, proud moment. Every one of us been privileged to be involved, a proud, a fantastic moment. But we want more. We are ambitious. We are dedicated. We want to constantly improve and make this club and this team better.
Thanks very much. Best of luck in the game. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Jim Conlon, please.
Hi, Thomas. Thomas, just one there on Christian again. In terms of Christian's role, in terms of his position in your team, can you see him fulfilling a wide range of roles? Maybe an out-and-out winger, maybe an inverted winger, maybe a player that can play off the top of a striker, maybe a deep-lying playmaker. Does it give you that sort of variety in terms of options when he does become available?
Yeah, hi, Jim. Definitely. Christian is a very versatile player that can play in many positions. I'm a little bit in doubt which one is his best position, actually. I think it's about me to how can I construct the team in the best way, so he can perform, the team can perform, and how do we do that? Very simple. If we played our 3-5-2 we are playing now, his best role will be one of the 2 8s. That's for sure. But definitely the 8 that need to dictate the game and run the show. That's my expectations. But he can both finish the attack and he can also start and build the attack. So he is very privileged to have both abilities.
And Thomas, one quick subject now that people's on this mind. We're probably coming out of the pandemic era, and during the pandemic era, with the run of games, with the run of fixtures, it was implemented that Premier League clubs and clubs throughout the leagues would have 5 substitutions now. Sean Dyche has recently been commented on the subject, and he feels clubs with bigger sort of resources that it's sort of an unfair advantage, and he would like to see it go back to a 3 substitutions rule. Are you sort of in favour of that? Can you see both ways? Obviously, you're coming up against an Arsenal panel now with so many resources on the bench as well. Do you feel it's an unfair advantage having to teams, the bigger panels, having 5 subs?
If I misunderstood something, we only have 3 subs, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, it's back to 3. Okay.
Yeah,
apologies.
it's been 3 the whole season.
Yeah. Okay. And Thomas, just in terms of going forward now, in terms of getting that momentum and getting that win under the belt, how important is that?
I think again, performances are very important, but tipping that performance into a good result will of course means a lot. Of course it will. We hope it comes soon rather than later. We go to the Emirates to try to take 3 points. We know it's going to be difficult. We know that Arsenal will be huge favourites, but we believe in ourselves and think we can do something. So every game we'll do our very best to try to win it.
Cheers, Thomas.
Thank you, Jim.
Right, so we now on to anything under embargo.